सलाम, नमस्ते, सत श्री अकाल, आदाब। वो कहते हैं ना, जो सोच में बड़ा है उसे अपने बड़प्पन का सबूत देने की जरूरत नहीं होती। और ऐसे ही एक इंसान है सीपी गुरनानी। Some leaders, they build companies. Some leaders build trust in nation. CP has done both of them. So today, we not only discover his achievements, but we discover the mystery and the enigma around this man. He's a beautiful man. वो कहते हैं ना, 3 Idiots का एक डायलॉग, सक्सेस के पीछे मत भागो, एक्सीलेंस के पीछे भागो। साला छक मारकर सक्सेस आपके पीछे भागो। It gives me an absolute pleasure to introduce you to this enigma of a man. He is too senior to be called a friend, but he always treats me like God. CP, welcome to talk with Kunal Vasudeva. हम दिल में भी आते हैं और हम समझ में भी आते हैं। Once again, salam, namaste, sat shri akal, adab. CP, before you came over here, I had to give an introduction, and I gave that introduction as the initial montage. I want to repeat one of the lines which I just said, and I said, 15 साल पहले एक मूवी बनी थी 3 Idiots. उसमें एक डायलॉग होता था कि सक्सेस के पीछे मत भागो, एक्सीलेंस के पीछे भागो, सक्सेस छक मारकर आपके पीछे भागेगी. I think that line was written at that point in time with people like you and mine.
If Kunal, you want to reflect back, middle of the war, Lord Krishna and Arjun have something similar when they talk. Lord Krishna is the mentor, he is the coach, and Arjun is a young man with potential. And that young man with potential had the normal fears of life, normal confusion about life, normal crossroads of life where which decision to take. And at that point of time, Krishna also said, don't run after the results. Focus on the journey. Focus on the moment. And I think whether it is 3 Idiots or whether any other spiritual learning, they will always try and give us a meaning to life by saying, don't look at a glass half full, don't look at a glass half empty, look at the positives. And that effectively means is accentuate the positive, that means accentuate the glass half full.
So true, so true. You know, I also asked some of your colleagues who kind of knew you, and something beautiful one of them said, and I'm just probably trying to put something around that, and that was, CP दिल में भी आते हैं और CP समझ में भी आते हैं. ये कहाँ से हुआ?
Honestly, you're asking a wrong guy, because जो मेरे को पढ़ रहा है वो बताएगा कि वो कैसे पढ़ रहा है. From my point of view, there are 2 or 3 rules, and that's where I'm grateful to my family for that. One is that people asked me work-life balance. I said, yeah, marry work and life, then you're not going to have the word called balance out there. So for me, I bring work home and I bring life into work. That's all has driven me. That means I'm happy to do a meeting at my home. I'm happy to do a party, office party at my home. And similarly, I am happy to take my grandchild to my workplace because to me, if you create boundaries, then only you are trying to live into two different worlds. I have never lived in any other world. So people I work with is my family, and my family is also part of my work life.
So true. And you know what they say? You've said something very, very beautiful. People who actually open their house to their work colleagues, psychologically, they are supremely transparent people. They love the little extensions of their work at home and the extensions of the home. So when you take your children and grandchildren back at work, that's exactly the harmony they kind of see. And it's a very rare trait, but these traits I have seen over a period of last, I would say, 20 odd years with very few people. जो घर खोलते हैं ना, है ना, उनको कुछ छुपाने की जरूरत नहीं है. वो दिल भी खोलते हैं अपना और घर भी खोलते हैं.
I think I've been lucky. So I'll tell you from many of my bosses that I worked with, I found this, most of them are, so that's why I may not agree with very few people. So for example, one of my first bosses was Shiv Nadar. Shiv Nadar suddenly on a Sunday morning at about 11 a.m., and those are the time when you have these rotary phones. A phone will ring and he said, "What are your plans for lunch? I just discovered they're doing chettinad chicken and you love chettinad chicken. Why don't you come over?" Now, my point is, similarly, I worked with a legend called Vineet Nair Sr., who was an ex-IS officer. I mean, I have sat on a dining table with him where everybody is arguing with everybody. And the first time I sat with him on that dining table, I came back and I said, "You have a very dysfunctional family." So, but then I was at that age where I thought this was dysfunctional because when I grew up, when the father spoke, everybody listened.
True.
When the argument you wanted to have your mother, it was always 1:1.
So right.
It wasn't a dining table argument where everybody spoke at cross purposes.
Yeah.
So I can only tell you is that I have learned from some of the best, and I don't know if the interpretation is opening your house. I think the interpretation for me is opening your minds. Interpretation for me is sharing your thoughts. Interpretation for me is that you are the same person whether at home or at work.
You're absolutely right. And that's what I was kind of coming to. 15 years back, a businessman would call me, and I knew him. I had given him a franchise of a business that I was running at that time. And he said, "Bhabhi ji ke haath ka chai pina." And this is Bombay. Bombay, nobody calls Bhabhi ji, and Bombay, nobody comes home like that. And he said 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't understand that. 5 months later, he landed up at 8 o'clock. He's saying, "Bhabhi ji ke haath ka chai pina hai." I said, "Come over." I asked her, Simran, she's a working lady. I said, "Is it possible? 5-10 minutes? She said, "Yeah, no problem." हो गया, आया, चाय पिया, चले गया. 6 महीने के बाद मैंने उसे एक पूछा, "It's from Hyderabad." I said, "Why did you say that?" He said, "Kunal, you could wear your Rolex and you can come in your E-class to the office. If I have to put my money on you, I want to see that energy of your house and how do you keep your family together." So when you bring people back home, it's this energy.
No, why am I laughing? I would visit both my kids went to college in US. At 17, when I sent my daughter, I would insist I'll have a meal with her. Number 2, I would like to stay with her. And number 3 is that I would like to take her friends out for lunch the next day. And she thought, I'm spending too much of money. And So she had her own interpretation, having one-to-one,
sure.
father-daughter bonding.
For sure.
Staying with her meant that she was forced to clean up her apartment.
For sure, because the
people
father
that
was
you
coming.
share,
Yeah.
the girl that she used to share it with. So she understood that part. And number third is that I would take her friends out for lunch, and she would say, "Why do you want to spend that kind of money?" And I would say, "No, it's good. I want to know it. I just love being with younger people." Later, I did admit to her that friends you keep
Sorry.
define you.
Absolutely.
And that is the reason I wanted to hang around with
Especially
youngsters.
Especially fathers and daughters, right? It's that
No, I did that with my son also. So it just
You're
was
so
a
right,
standard
man.
process. And to me, it was, if you know your children's company, you can judge that they are in good hands or not.
CP, you can't have a 4 decade of the kind of experience you've had, the kind of man that you've become, pretty much loved by the industry and by the people who know you. So our conversation will go back and forth between your younger days and, of course, what you're doing today, and we'll go back and forth. What you are today, the grounding of it started back home. What was your childhood like?
One of my biggest influences in my life was my grandfather. I lost my grandmother, I'm talking of the father's side. My grandfather was a migrant from Pakistan, lost everything, and had to rebuild his life and his family. He chose to crush groundnut to make what is known as Mumfali ka Tel, which was a typical, now you call it,
It's a staple now.
no, but now you have factories, you have solvent
course, but it was,
extraction. Those days it was
hand pressed,
hand
churned, hand grounded.
I don't know what is that technology called, because it was a Kolu ka bell.
जो ऐसे पीछे,
who went around
I know what you're saying, yeah.
So anyway, he landed up in a small place called Nimbaheda, which is about 30 kilometers from Chittorgarh in Rajasthan, about 110 kilometers from Udaipur in Rajasthan. And so he was a big influence, because I would go and spend, in a way, a little bit of his time. For me, the common question was that he liked to dress in a white dhoti, in a white kurta, and a white Gandhi topi. And he, other than his topi, everything else used to become black. So I'd come and ask him, Dadu, why this? Then he would take me to the mill. And then I realized that you do not run a business without getting your hands into the soil, without getting your hands dirty, without living it with your, partners. You may call them worker bees today, or you may call them queen bees. But the reality is that if you are not in the trenches with them,
For sure.
you don't build an organization. And the moment he did that, in that environment, his clothes did become dirty. That's number one lesson. Second lesson for me from my grandfather was that there is no substitute to hard work. Ultimately, it was that him getting up in the morning, as I told you, I lost my grandmother. Him getting up in the morning and being in a hurry, he was the boss. Being in a hurry to get to the workplace and making sure everything is working. Number three that I learned from him was how you build teams. I still remember one of those days when I said, I'm coming with you, when it was a holiday for me, And I'd come from Chittorgarh to Nimbada. Nimbada was just 30 kilometers. And I said, I want to spend the whole day with you. All right, he said, come. So I go with him. That is the day, because it was all manual, hard work, his attrition was very high. Now I'm putting that English. That time I didn't understand that English. And he would interview people, and his interview style was very unique. He would say, Acha, oh, you have come from this village. Just go to the mandi and find out mumphali ka bhav, because in a commodity oil business, the commodity price determines your business. So he said, jao mumphali ka bhav pata karke aao. One guy will go to the mandi. Mandi means it was not that far.
Yeah.
He'll go to the mandi, he'll come back and say, let us say 100 rupees man. Man is 40 kgs in that part of the world. So 100 rupees for that 40 kgs. The second guy will come and say, it's right now 100 rupees, but the market seems to be slow. So if we go in the evening, I think we can do a business at 85 rupees. The third guy would say, I found out we need to go and buy in the village, because the wholesalers or the middlemen there buys it at about 75 rupees. So I think we will go and buy it directly. We should be able to get it at 75 rupees. You know, he would explain to me. I would understand the difference between 180 and 75. And I thought that was a lesson. Till I realized he hired the first guy. I thought, but the best answer came from the third guy. He said, मेरे को तो पीपे उठवाने हैं. That means every job, every role, there has to be an alignment. I just want somebody to,
I understand
do
what
the
you're saying.
manual work.
Yeah. If I get an overqualified guy for that manual work, he will leave.
Yeah. So my point is building teams, and how you build teams with a game changer. How do you build teams with a, what I call an improver, or how you build teams with a guy who will follow your instructions.
But when we talk about teams, and in your 3 decades of leadership that you did, was it pretty much where the business was at that point in time, and you would build, let's say, take Satyam for instance. Let's go to that Satyam. Incidentally, at the very beginning when I was kind of introducing us, I must tell you, I was saying, leaders build companies, but there are some leaders who rebuild trust in a nation. What you did with Satyam, that you rebuilt trust in a nation, especially at that point in time, where IT services was hit in the global world in terms of trust because of what happened, and you rebuild that trust. So when you were building that Satyam, rebuilding that Satyam, what kind of people you had in mind who would support you in your endeavor to wherever you took Tech Mahindra?
It's a more complex question. The reason I consider this as a complex question is, number one is, it wasn't that I knew in this particular situation, what is it that we are getting into. We knew that there is a fraud. A fraud impacts not only a balance sheet, it impacts
The people,
the lenders, it impacts the customers,
the
it
shareholders,
impacts the
everybody.
shareholders, associates, and their families.
So true.
So when you walk in, when you meet people who say they've delayed their weddings by another 1 year because the future was uncertain. When you meet people who say that they could not renew their rental agreements
Because of the uncertainty.
because of the perceived risk of
So
the
right.
landlord.
So right.
You met people who couldn't afford a surgery at that point of time. You met people whose parents were downsizing because they didn't know if the children would be able to support them. It was a very different feeling. It was a very, I would say, a sense of almost a responsibility that I need to regain the trust of the society. It's not about the individual, it is not about the customer, it is not about that a traffic cop will let you go because your card says I am Mahindra and said agli baar nahi karna, Mahindra achhi company hai. To me it was, I had to build that trust. So the moment you change your, what I would say, the goal, things start falling in place.
But
And that goal,
Yeah.
no, for me it was a simple lessons that you learn when you're in school. कि एक बोलता है कि इस लाइन को बड़ा कर दो, and then somebody says नहीं इसके पास में एक छोटी लाइन लगा दो, तो वो that other line will always look bigger. I mean, you just have to rewire yourself. So when I heard the stories, the rewiring was that I want to build trust in the society. Somebody jokingly asked me, will that mean that a Satyam engineer will start getting a same premium in a prospective father-in-law's mind? And I said, yeah, maybe that is a manifestation. But to me, yes, that became a barometer because I was in Andhra Pradesh, combined Andhra Pradesh that time. So my point is very simple. When you have the right kind of goals, even in today in AI, they tell you what is the right way to ask question is prompt engineering.
True.
So to me, it is a prompt. It's a prompt of defining the purpose. The performance will happen if your purpose is aligned. If your people can understand what you're trying to achieve, then
But that burden you carried, again, I want to even understand that aspect. And the eyes of the nation was on you. I remember at that point in time, it was a very big economic time kind of headline when they had kind of appointed you from that perspective. Of course, I was growing up in my career. I didn't understand that much about the tech and about leadership, to be very honest. But you are always in awe that, there was somebody who was picked up and say, resurrect this. How does that make you feel as a person? But more importantly, that journey, as you rightly said, that shared responsibility towards all the stakeholders. Is it one day as it comes? Is it like literally you are building it like a Lego block? क्योंकि किसी को end पता नहीं होता क्या होना है, but process पता होता है कि कैसे करना है.
I think there is a pattern. So let me again try and take you back. The day we acquired, the response of the journalists and the media houses clearly said, this is now going to become a public duty. The number of journalists, the number of press channels, the number of people who wanted to talk. So this is when the announcement happened in Bombay. Next day evening, after the 24 hours of this conversations, and I'm lucky that people like Anand Mahindra are much better at dealing with media than I am. And obviously, if they can ask a question to Anand Mahindra, they don't need me. Right? So we still were in this mode where Anand Mahindra buys a company. But obviously the media did cover that I am taking over as a CEO. I still remember it was a Jet Airways flight that day. I am in that flight Bombay to Hyderabad, going in to take over. And I don't know how. I mean, I did try and find out, and if the I was just told is that the pilot has few relatives in
In Satyam. Erstwhile Satyam.
erstwhile Satyam. He announced actually that I have CP da da da, and the whole aircraft clapped. And that's the time again, it was a second realization that we are now entering into a phase where we would be answerable not just to the customers or employees, but we are answerable to the society.
So right. So right.
So that's the second time the penny dropped. The third part is that, only in mythology a Lord Hanuman carries a mountain. In real life, it is always a team which makes it happen. So I did not promise anything to my customers or employees for the first 3 months. We took over on 13th April 2009. I promised them that I need about 3 months to know what would be the recovery plan, what would be the strategy, and what role everybody would play. So it took 3 months. And when I went back in the early July, and then I called the top 100 officers of the company, and I laid out a plan. It's a 3-year journey. It's not a 1-day journey. And this is how we are going to do it. And this is what the role everybody will play. And this is what your team is going to do. And I had the team present, not me. My point is that out of those 100 officers, 5 came back and said, we don't want to be part of that journey because we have better options. And I actually hugged them. And I said, thank you for sharing with me that you are not part of the journey because somebody else can take over.
True.
I need the team to be motivated. I do not want team who is not 100% because our responsibility is not to the 30,000 employees outside. It is a responsibility we have made a commitment to the society. So I think we had fun. When I look back, I think we had great moments in life. Most of us, if we ever write a book on it, we will always say it is the spirit of the team. It's the spirit of Satyam which allowed us to sail through those stormy waters. And that spirit meant the strength of the team.
Because now it's in the public domain and Harvard Business School has covered it as a case study as well. Was it very bad, what he did?
Listen, that in any business, you are working on 3 fundamentals. Number 1 is relationship, number 1 is building trust, and number 3, serving it with integrity.
And all the 3...
All the 3 were violated. So to me, it is the worst thing you can ever do because you violated the 3 fundamentals of any relation, anything that you do in life.
We go back to your childhood. You graduate from NIT. So grandfather influence in this village in Rajasthan. I understand 5 out of 10 people want to do engineering. Were you an engineer by heart when you were growing up? Or was it something that we had no choice at that point in time? Either there was a trade profession or there was the engineering profession.
So Kunal,
या तो distributor बन जाओ या तो engineer बन जाओ.
So I have to give you a little more background here. My mother had to balance her budget because my father chose not to join the oil mill because to him, he was a graduate and to him, carrying a sack of groundnut or...
That wasn't his calling.
That was not his calling.
Whatever you may want to call it.
So he chose to join Central Bureau of Narcotics. As an honest officer, he used to be transferred every year.
Because of course he was honest.
He was a very honest officer, and narcotics was not known for honesty. Number two is, I'm very proud, my father ended up getting the President's Medal, and I still remember being the largest or the loudest cheerleader when Morarji Desai that time put a medal on his chest when he was
79?
Yeah, and when he was the Prime Minister of India on behalf of the President of India. So my point is very simple, is that my father's integrity, my father's intensity, and my father's perseverance despite of every kind of a hurdle that came his way taught me a lot. Similarly, my mom had to balance her budget.
True.
I still remember one of her way of communicating that she has a tough time balancing the budget. She was always smiling. She was very spiritual. She was very religious. But at the same time, she would say, if the fever comes to my house on 28th of the month, I'll tell the fever to wait and come on 1st. Because on 28th,
beautiful,
in her own way,
Khatam ho gaya paise.
She is saying that I'm broke.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we understood it. It is not that we didn't understand it. Similarly, how she worked on budget. So I still remember one of those schools which wanted me to wear a green coat and they wanted to sell it from their store in the school. She would come with me to the school and ask the store owner, why do you want it? Oh, this is good quality, this is this shade, this is this shade. She would insist on getting, let us say it was OCM 2030/31. She will note down that. Then, she will get an exception. She will, if required, she will go to the principal or a school, whatever, that she is going to get you the same shade, blah, blah, blah. Then she'll go around the market. She'll go to a shop number 1 who will try and sell her a Digjam. Those days there used to be something called Lal Bhai. Somebody will try and sell her. She knew at the back of her mind she wants to only buy OCM 2030/XYZ. Eventually she will negotiate, and she would have learnt a lot in the process of interacting, because one guy will try and tell her what the wool content is, the other guy will teach her what a polyester is, the third guy will say what the shades mean and what the color schemes mean. My point is that you always have to learn, and in this case, frugal innovation is what I learned from my mother. So my father, mother, grandparents, or the teachers that came in my life, they all had something to impart, and I genuinely believe that it is not what I did only in NIT Rourkela. The foundation was laid much earlier.
Much earlier.
So anyway, like everybody else, I have my own stories, but the best stories are always that now I know why my mother would also wanted to get it stitched, that cloth, because then she could get it stitched for the next 2 years.
Yeah, for sure.
The tailor was willing to listen to her. The school uniform guy wouldn't listen to her.
3 decades of tech engineering, 4th decade you're in AI right now, and you're unstoppable still. But what are you made up of? I just want to know. What are you made up of, CP? क्या चल रहा है?
देखो, most of us cannot deny the influence of not only our parents, our teachers, but in a way, the people that you work with. And the movies that you watch. In India, there is a huge influence of the movies. So to me, all the people that I know have never taken a break. So I told you about Shiv. I spoke to you about
your grandfather.
My grandfather,
your father never
or
took a break.
my favorite leader, Vineet Nayyar, who was an IS officer, World Bank. I still remember him walking into office and joining Shiv as a vice chairman. And I went and asked him the same question. I mean, Vineet, you were in World Bank. Why are you come here? He's joking. He was joking. He said, यार मेरे को तुम्हारे शिव नाडर ने पागल बना दिया. And I said, what? He said, उसने कहा सॉफ्टवेयर बिजनेस है. मैंने सोचा लॉन्जरी बिजनेस है. But my point is again humor.
Yeah.
What did I learn? I said, if you bring in humor into a conversation, you win half the battles.
True.
Then the second part he said is, I can't sit at home. My World Bank, he was IS officer. His wife was an IS officer, Reva Nayyar. His World Bank pension covered, let us assume he was getting $5,000. In any position, $5,000 is much higher than any other
rupees.
pension scheme anywhere in the world.
10,000 rupees.
So my point is that he said, यार बोर हो जाता हूँ यहाँ तुम लोगों के साथ आता हूँ तो बैटरी चार्ज रहती है.
Very nice.
Now my point is that if I look at all of this, to me it has always been that if there is fuel in the body, I am going to work till the last day of my life because A, it is fun. Number two, it is my payback time. Number three is I think there are different ways to make an impact. I make an impact by creating institution.
So right. You're on that. CP, fair enough. I understand that. Where I also want to understand is, here you were 18 years with Tech, right? Almost Tech Mahindra, 18 saal?
I mean, almost 20 years.
20 years,
Yeah.
right? And you're a smart, intelligent, God bless you, you have the wealth right now, every aspect. And then you say, you know what, you want to do a startup. And that is a build phase. And we all know, first 5-7 years is crazy in that build phase. ये energy, ये resolve जो आप में है, does it go back to the roots? Because people will not build. You're saying, ठीक है, you know what, I'll sit on, I know so many people, I kid you not. At 60, you know what they say? You know what, let me monetize my brand, let me sit on a few boards. I saw, no names taken, of course, one of the ex-chairman of a large bank, he says, boss, मैं बोर्ड मीटिंग्स में बैठता हूँ, पर सिटिंग के मेरे को 1 million मिल जाते हैं, ऐसे मैं 10 सिटिंग में बैठ जाता हूँ. And here you are, again, recasting, rebuilding, right? Now you have taken on something where all of us are in the middle of it, that is AI. Most of us don't understand, except it is a large language model, right? And you're building something on top of an operating system, in hospitality.
Kunal,
You know, as an outsider, I'm in awe of you. I love you. I want to be like you. I want to know, may God give me the same benevolence what you've received, and my viewers as well. But how do we keep this energy going?
कुणाल, मेरे पास में कोई ऐसी पिल नहीं है जिसको मैं I can say this is the reason.
कुछ तो
Because anybody who is choosing to be on the boards, I think he's right. I have my classmates who have chosen to be teachers. I have one of my classmates who's very proud of going into his native village and making model farm so that the villagers can benefit. And he spends, he sends me pictures every month. And I'm telling you that I'm so impressed with Viveka Mishra as we call him, because he's found his purpose. In my case, I can only tell you the penny dropped when EY gave me an award called Entrepreneur of the Year.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, I didn't earn it. I was an entrepreneur manager. I brought in whatever energy, whatever acceleration to my business. But that business was owned by the shareholders. I did not, really should be called an entrepreneur. So one of those days I am going to become an entrepreneur. So that is number one. And number two is, once I had this conversation with Mr. Mahindra, who was my chairman, that 1.5 years later, I will step down. The only, I would say, dialogue we had was because he said, oh, you're giving me 1.5 years notice, so I can't deny you that. And number two, just tell me why 19th of December? And I said, Anand, I want people to remember my birthday. So he said, yeah, usually they do end of quarter or end of the financial year, and you want to do it, and I think I have to give this to you. So that's why I retired at 19 December. Number third, I think, I'm a huge believer in power of the God, power of the blessings of my parents, power of the blessings of the people that have been part of my life, power of the support that my wife and my family give to me. And I think all of them, in a way, did agree. Not that I had a dialogue with my father, but I always make a point to go twice to pray to Almighty to say, thank you, God.
What's your relationship with God?
It's a beautiful relationship. The relationship is that, for me, there is a belief that there is a God. Because where I was born, my parents, my first school, my first, how did I land up in a college? How did I, get married? My children, everything. If I say that I am the one who did it, I mean, absolutely no. There is somebody who has designed it. So, I believe there is one who is super powerful. Number two is that my relationship is a person like my mother who only gives. And she has never asked me for anything. Unfortunately, my mother is obviously not part of this life right now. But when I looked at the purity of the relationship of a parent, I always say the purity is that they've never asked you for a return. They've only given.
You know what they say, na? God bless my mother's soul as well. Mothers are the biggest mathematicians. So किसी ने पूछा क्यों? इसे आप एक रोटी मांगो दो रोटी देती है.
So I think that's my relationship. That God is a parent. I only go and say thank you in the morning. I look at the God and say thank you.
But were you always inclined towards the spiritual part?
I tend to, believe that it started as a parental influence. Frankly, I went through a stage where I rebelled because why do you take me to a temple? What do I go there? And the only incentive was the Kana Prasad in a Gurdwara or a Laddu in a temple. So I won't say that I was a convert from the day zero. But somewhere, I think there was a moment when you started questioning, why me? Or when you started questioning, how come I am the top 5% or the top 3% or the top 2%? It didn't matter whether it was a class race or whether it was a cricket match. When you started saying that, how did I get to score where somebody else continued to make mistakes and they kept dropping catches, then he started saying, somebody decided that I should be scoring a century. I'm just giving you specific instances in my life where I started saying, this can't be the only script that I write. It is somebody else writing that script. And if everybody calls that person a god, then let's call it a god. So that's the way it worked out. But then I think I've been a believer. And to me, yes, the wisdom came from my parents, but I think it sunk in much later.
So, your belief in God is your belief and it's deeply personal. I'm just putting another layer. I'm just wanted to kind of ask is the fact that you have two people born on extreme sides, and let's say you were born in Rajasthan and at the same time somebody was born in Bombay at that point in time. The Bombay person had all the richness and all the environment at that point in time when you were born, और सब चीज़ था and he wasn't successful, and आपके पास कुछ नहीं था and you were successful. Somewhere do you think, of course, that collective, I would say, energy and collective intellectualism of your family, but it was your killer instinct at every part of that journey which take you forward. And of course, then you met beautiful people, right? And you had great conversation. But at the end of the day, you had the reins. फिर वही कहते हैं ना, mythology में चले जाओ, reins आपके हाथ में थे, आपने इधर मुड़ा, and you are the product of those choices. And of course you're grateful, because you were grateful that your grandparents, your parents, your mom, they influenced you. Of course, maybe the wife came along, the children came along, the friends came along, Vineet came along, and so many others who you must have met.
देखो सर, इस मामले में I think it's a much longer debate than what you budgeted, Kunal. But my belief is that any individual who thinks that it is he or she who needs to take the credit, I think they are wrong. Now, I can't claim that 95 or 99% of the people that I have met have explained to me that why they were chosen. There's this famous Bajaj family story about a young kid being picked up and later became Jamnalal Bajaj and later became XYZ. So my point is that I'm a very firm believer in destiny. I've spoken on the same subject to my friends in US. They have also used the same words, but they use timing.
Attribution, timing, correct?
Right. So my point is that I think, Kunal, most of us would like to have our own interpretation.
For sure.
My simple answer to your question is another question. That same family, same uprooting, same upbringing, same circumstances. One guy goes and joins defense services, the other guy joins business, the third guy goes into administrative services, fourth guy becomes something else. Why all four of them didn't do what they needed to do? And in many cases, two guys who joined businesses, one of them failed, one of them succeeded. They all got the same opportunities. So I think that
something larger is at play.
That old Indian way of looking at life, that your karma define you, your past life defines you, and that you cannot fight destiny. And when they start talking about some of tough moments, they may call it Sade Sati or Rahu Ketu, whatever. But the point is that when you see life that closely, when you meet people, when you start analyzing the way you are trying to analyze, you will realize that there is some truth in ancient wisdom.
Oh, for sure. I think it was all said before. It's just how we interpret it today. let's come back to the future. Let's talk about AIONOS, AIONOS. What is happening there with your company? What are you disrupting now?
So AIONOS to me is the most beautiful part of my life. It is just an amazing opportunity. AIONOS to me is looking at, in general, every industry and saying, how can I improve? I put almost every situation, whether I come to Indian Institute of Hospitality, into three buckets: run, change, and grow. To me, it is about, let us say, I've come to meet you, Kunal, and I'm trying to say what AI can do for Indian Institute of Hospitality. My conversation would be in three buckets. How do I help you run Indian Institute of Hospitality better? Now, better obviously means better for the employers, better for the student, better for the faculty, better for you as a shareholder, better for you or the society. Now, change means that I can improve efficiency by trying to help you with some tools or some analytics or some data points which allow you to run your institute better. If you are one physical being, it could mean just, start getting up at 6 a.m. and why don't you start running, Kunal? Or Indian Institute of Hospitality, why don't we run 2 shifts? Why don't we have a breakfast shift and why don't we have a dinner shift? I mean, it's your asset is going to cost, is the maximum that is costing you, and I can improve your faculty participation by using modern tools and technology. I'm just giving you an example. Similarly, when I come to change, I start asking you, why would we not start inventing food here? Why are we waiting for a Gagan Anand to come and tell us, how to package khichdi and call it a risotto?
Menu innovation, something.
I would start questioning and say, let's change. Because that's about changing our mindset. That is about bringing in that exposure. That what made a Gagan Anand or Garima, whatever you want to call it, or
a
Manish Malhotra or a Rohit Khattar,
Correct.
Different.
Correct.
I'm not talking only about food.
Yeah,
it could be rooms. It could be service industry.
It could be fashion. It could be
fashion. It could be anything. To me, that is a change. So like for example, one of my best conversations with you and your team was when you said we called Indian Institute of Hospitality, but actually we are a service industry. We are creating leaders who will serve the service industry.
So right.
It doesn't matter. They could be running a tailor shop somewhere. But as long as they remember that a client comes first and a client has to smile, that's what we are teaching them. That's what the cultural
Correct.
Groundwork we are doing with the team. That's a foundation we are laying for the team. That they understand financing. They understand that business is not built without cash flows.
Absolutely.
Right? So, to me, that is a change. Then comes in what I call grow. Now, grow typically, like for example, you are situated in Manesar. It serves one hospitality belt, but the next Olympics are likely to be held in Ahmedabad. Why don't I anticipate? Why don't I do a hybrid model in Ahmedabad? Because if 2030, if Amitabh Khan's projections are right, then I need 100x of the hospitality teams. If I need that level of service teams, then why don't I anticipate the puck? Then that means my growth strategy has to be very different. So that is what we come and do, and that's where we say AI will support you. Because many of these decisions start visualizing AI as your neural intelligence. Start visualizing AI as applied intelligence. Start visualizing AI as your second avatar.
Correct.
And the moment you start doing it, that means you are able to multiplex a lot better. If you are a capable person, you will do a run, change, grow
Correct.
in every analysis, and that will help your decision making. Hence, it makes you a better, not only an individual, a better family man or a better this thing, because you are able to prioritize also
You are
better.
2x of your own self. See, a lot of people in India, around the world, again, there are contradictions to this as well. And they look at AI and they say, loss in jobs, right? It's going to take over. So if I can do 3 times worth of one person, then the other 2 becomes redundant. I have my own theory towards that. I think few jobs here and there will go, and that's okay. And another few, those 10,000 jobs will be replaced by something which you don't even know exists today. What would you tell them? Because you are building it yourself, right?
So, Kunal, I learned the hard way, or I learned it by observation, that every guy who goes and climbs a mountain to go to a Mata Vishnu Devi, you never tell them they are wrong. Because God is omnipresent.
So right, so right.
Right? I personally believe, the press is doing me a huge favor when they say jobs will be lost. At least somebody will wake up that day. Somebody will realize that they need to reskill, they need to develop, they need to position themselves. They need to decide what is it that they need to do differently. I would like to actually be the person who puts in an amplifier somewhere and says, guys, wake up. AI will take away your jobs. The question is, which jobs will they take away? And if they take away a job of a marketing guy because somebody can do a creative, if they are able to say that they will do a job, take away a job of a call center agent,
or an analyst,
or an analyst, or a software coder, thank you very much.
Reskill
That
yourself.
means you
Wake up,
are
reskill.
willing to upskill yourself. You are willing to learn what the market will require tomorrow. What will the market require? That human touch, that emotion, that a Lord Krishna teaching Arjun couldn't have asked for a Guru Vani to come and tell him, no? That a Lord Krishna is required to be a teacher. That you need a doctor, not because somebody else is able to read your CT scan, because of that human touch. That in your hospitality industry, I can get rid of the front office completely. Nothing is stopping me from, if I can interact with you on a Digi Yatra, why can't I have a zero front office?
and go straight to your room. Yeah.
The point is the technology exists. Why do you still keep people on the front office? Because you know that human being, how was your trip?
Correct.
Now, my point is, we all can see a threat, we can see an opportunity, but till we see the threat, we will not get into that zone of seeing an opportunity. And I personally believe that many times you have to close a door to find a new door.
Oh, absolutely. CP, tell me something. You have, as I said, you are one of those people who are building the nation as well, through your whatever. Do you think we are innovating enough as a society, as India? जितना होना चाहिए, वो हम कर रहे हैं? Or are we still in the risk-free zone? In the sense, companies are not taking that kind of risk for it to make those exponential jumps, which India requires.
As I told you right in the beginning of this conversation I programmed because my parents taught me, my grandfather taught me that a glass half full is your way of saying, thank you, God. Thank you for that positivity.
Correct.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity. Now, so let's analyze industries. I think in healthcare, India is now reaching scale, both in life sciences. That means, that Krishna Ella was able to give you a vaccine which withstood everybody else. And it was not that they put in extra money. That and Adar Poonawala set up a manufacturing facility which was bigger than anyone else in the world. Now, to me, that is risk-taking.
Correct. I agree. But
A Krishna Ela took some dead cells and with the limited knowledge, he gave you a vaccine. I think we need to salute him.
absolutely.
Similarly, that in your neighborhood, when you walk across, you find two of the largest hospitals in India called Medanta or that Fortis, whatever it is.
Correct.
Both different style.
Correct.
Medanta looks like one of those busy hospitals.
Yeah.
Fortis gives you a feeling of a little more caring.
True.
Both of them are successful in their own way.
Correct.
Now, my submission here is that you can sit here and say, oh, I did not invent a new molecule called whatever. Ozempic. Right, since it is much
It's a
in the
trending
news.
drug these days, but yeah.
Since it is much in the news, all I'm again pointing out is, but Mr. Trump, when it came to duty exemptions, he very conveniently said, duty exemption will continue on generic drugs. You became a champion of the generic drugs. I meet people like Madhusudan Agarwal at Ajanta Pharma. I meet Pankaj at Zydus. All I'm trying to make a point here is, or a Sun Pharma, that they have achieved both in a provider, healthcare, or in this. They've all achieved a certain amount of scale and certain amount. And this can only happen if you are the basic principle that's worked well for us, frugal innovation. That our movie industry, is one of the best in the world. Yeah, sure, a Tom Cruise movie does $400 million. Our Shah Rukh Khan movie does 400 crores. There is a gap.
And at what cost? Yeah.
And there is a gap. Yeah, sure. There are areas.
Yeah.
There are areas where we need to do differently or better. But for a young nation of 78, 79 years,
I understand what it is. I think beautiful the way you kind of put it. If I kind of sum it up, is we are getting there. It's just 4 trillion right now, right? At this stage is frugal innovation required. Thoda slow hoga, lekin long lasting impact ho raha hai. Critical industries are doing that. They are not talking about it, but they are doing that. We just need to have patience.
True.
Have I
100%. So I'm not saying that, it's not that we will not have it. Sooner or later, India will have its own fighter aircraft. We won't be buying a Rafale.
Absolutely.
Sooner or later, we will have a passenger aircraft. We won't be buying it from an Airbus or a Boeing.
Yeah.
Sooner or later...
Your erstwhile company is into aerospace, Mahindra Aerospace.
Yeah, but they are right now still doing structures.
Yeah.
All I'm again making a submission here is that I think we need to stroke the ambition.
Yeah.
If we can be so good in space.
So true. Complex. That is indeed rocket science.
But that is, look at it. But
we
the
have all
point
the
of
right
investment you have to remember is, we all have to salute the people in ISRO. We have to salute the people in Baba Atomic Research Centers. We have to salute the people in DRDO, which is a Defense Research Development Organization. Unless we do it, and we have to recognize that some of the people. So I must share a story here. A very, very close friend of mine is Professor Vivek Wadhwa. On a good day, he is very, very good, but on a bad day, he is the kind of a guy who can get up in the morning and say Elon Musk is an idiot. I mean, but the good part is that he puts it in writing. So whatever I'm sharing with
Okay,
you,
it's in the public domain.
it's a public domain knowledge. So Vivek lost his wife to cancer. Vivek and I are pretty much the same age. Uh, Vivek suddenly lost the purpose in his life. And I must congratulate his daughter-in-laws and his children. I think some of us as friends played a role, but he did find a purpose in life. I mean, he's a professor in Stanford, professor in Carnegie Mellon in US, and his children live in US. The times that I used to visit him, I used to say, Vivek, you know, there's so much India needs. He happened to meet Prime Minister Modi. He met his own spiritual guru called Daji in Hyderabad, who runs Heartfulness Institute. But the point, again amplifying, is he found a purpose in life at this stage. As you called me an AI entrepreneur, he became a medical entrepreneur. And that medical entrepreneur, his purpose in life is that he will bring in cancer diagnostics in India at 100 rupees, which includes everything. Now, where is he going? How is he going to do it? Number one, he chose a piece of technology that he's developing at IIT Chennai. He's using AI through different means. AI needs data. You know who's collaborating with him? Thanks to Prime Minister Modi, AIMS is collaborating with him.
Beautiful.
So India is the data capital of this world.
Beautiful. Yes.
1.4 billion people. And if we are the ones who will not only diagnose and have a cure for cancer, it is a journey of 100 years being reduced to 3 years.
Yeah.
So I think there is so much happening, and that is where we need to recognize that India has to set their ambition. If we as Indians use AI as a tool and set our ambitions, there are many, many more success stories waiting to be written.
Where do you think India, you're such an optimist about everything, where do you think India is in 2030 and where do you think India is in 2035 from your lens?
I think 2030 is next door. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's enough people who have told you we will be 5 trillion or 6 trillion, I mean, depending on who you talk to. So I think 2030 is very, very clear.
और वो अचीवेबल है, मैं आपको बताता हूँ क्यों. आप सेंसेक्स ही देख लो ना, इट्स ग्रोइंग एट अबाउट 15%. अगर वही 15% यू कंपाउंड इट, लेट्स से फॉर 5 years, यू ऑलरेडी.
मजा आएगा. अभी जो करंट ब्रेक लगा है, हाउ वुड वी बी एबल टू repurpose ourselves in many of the industries.
True.
So I am not only a believer, but I know that we all will make it happen.
Oh, absolutely. Resilient nation है. जो हम कर सकते हैं, वही frugal innovation जो हम कर सकते हैं ना, वो नहीं कर सकते because they're used to a certain lifestyle. So we can go up and down like this.
So that is number one. Number two is, I think it a lot depends. In the past, India has shown this beautiful dance called one step forward and two step backwards. My sometimes a worry is that our success will become our enemy. We will forget that we are a huge population of 1.4 billion and that our success means taking all 1.4 billion together, marching together,
Correct.
and being able to correct ourselves. We shouldn't start.
I think, you know what, to your point, we are not a very, very mature democracy, let's say like the UK, which is 400, 500 years old, 80 years hai. But I really kind of feel वो जो ठेले वाला है ना, he's too smart. आज उसके पास औजार नहीं है. But at $8 trillion, right, he would be at $7,500. सब चीज
मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि हम नहीं बढ़ेंगे. मैं सिर्फ ये कह रहा हूँ कि हमारा responsibility is to carry the 1.4 billion people. That to give them good quality water.
Yes.
So, for example, this venture with Professor Badwa, some of the analysis you do about the water, then you realize is that many of us, I'm not saying only us, that are dependent on RO water, but many people do not get that RO water, and it means they are drinking portions of lead that they should not be drinking.
True.
So,
The only thing to do is become an economic superpower.
देखो
सबका साथ सबका विकास.
देखो
पैसे नहीं होंगे
ये
तो
देखो सिर्फ
ऊपर-
इकोनॉमिक सुपर पावर से नहीं होगा. देखो अपनी तरफ से हम जो गलतियां करते हैं, आज की तारीख में एक सिंपल एग्जांपल, कल मैं जैसे एक टीम के ओनर के साथ बैठा था, वो मुझे अगेन लाइक यू चोज नॉट टू नेम, आई विल नॉट नेम द टीम ओनर, आई विल नॉट नेम द टूर्नामेंट, but or the state or the playing ground. He gave me 2 instances. रनिंग मैच के अंदर अगर किसी ने कहा कि मेरे को तेरे साथ फोटो खिंचाना है, और ने कहा जी अच्छा खिंचवा देंगे, आप यूनिफॉर्म वाले हो. बोले मैच रोक दिया गया क्योंकि लाइट्स ऑफ कर दी गई. बोले आप पहले फोटो खिंचाओ, हमने बोल दिया कि पहले हमारे साथ फोटो खिंचाना है. उन्हीं सज्जन ने मुझे ये भी बताया कि आप ये जो छोटा स्टेडियम होता है उसमें आपके हिसाब से फ्री टिकट्स का प्रपोर्शन क्या होता है, मतलब दैट मीन्स पीपल,
I know.
and he said well to do people who will call up and ask for
Correct.
a ticket for not only their families, but it's actually extended families. And people who can easily afford it. And जवाब आया कि साहब 60%.
In my head, it was about 30-40%.
Right? So now I'm just asking you is कि दुश्मन कौन है? हम हैं दुश्मन.
Of course. Of course.
हम IPL के मैथमेटिक्स तो सिखाते हैं लोगों को. हम ये कहते हैं वुमेन्स IPL हो रहा है, हम लोगों को दिखाते हैं कबड्डी लीग हो रही है, हम लोगों को दिखाते हैं कि कोई फुटबॉल टूर्नामेंट हो रहा है, बट हमने कितने इम्पेडिमेंट्स. आज की तारीख में फुटबॉल लीग सस्पेंडेड है. एक तरफ से मेसी इज विजिटिंग केरला. सो माय ओनली रिक्वेस्ट इज दैट सम ऑफ दीज, while we are focusing on economic superpower, we will have to focus back on ancient wisdom. We have an opportunity. AI brings you that opportunity
Correct.
to bring that ancient wisdom into every human being.
And level playing field.
I would rather have a TikTok equivalent. I don't want to subscribe to a Reels. I want a better TikTok which is based on only ancient wisdom. So many stories, so much to learn, so much to unlearn. So I would rather use AI for that.
You know, कहते हैं ना, to give you that वैष्णो देवी वाला example, कि वो जब a poor person believes in God much more than, let's say, a wealthy person, right? It's a person, it's an anecdote. तो किसी ने पूछा क्यों? इसी मिरेकल के लिए. जो दिन मिरेकल आ गया, राइट, वही पुअर पर्सन देख लेना, इंडिया में रेवोल्यूशन लेके आएगा. आज उसके हाथ बंधे हुए हैं. maybe when we are about $7 trillion, you never know what happens. Our bachas will look at it. हमने तो जितना हमने काम करना था, we have done.
नहीं हम करेंगे सर, हम करेंगे. हम बच्चों के पीछे उनको सपोर्ट करने के लिए
100%, 100. And the intent of this show is exactly the same. Is people just watching this conversation, getting inspired, and और यही होता है ना, आपने कहा ना कि it's about those people in the room, right? 20% जिसको कहते हो ना bottom line अपने आप ही आ जाता है. Just be around with 5 good people. If they don't have that in their vicinity, they can have in this classroom, and that's our intent. CP, in the last segment, I just want to check in with you on the fact, what, after achieving so much and so much more you're kind of doing, what does life really mean to you today? in reflection, must be looking at lot of, वो कहते हैं ना Charlie Chaplin's, in the short term life is a tragedy, but in the long term it's a comedy.
I think I never, so as I told you, every morning and every evening I have this dialogue with the God. And that dialogue with the God is always about gratitude. The dialogue is about giving me an opportunity to solve complex equations. Number third is that dialogue is all about, how do I become happy by making others happy? So that means, did I do something in a day which probably made others happy?
And that small fraction comes back into you and gives
And
you.
the fourth part of it is that when I have that dialogue, it is about meeting that youngster like Vinayak and finding that extra 3 minutes to probably help him unlock his or her potential.
True.
And last but not the least is, asking God, what can I do to become a better person? Now, this is almost like a constant dialogue. Some people do their prayers and, when they are... And I'll give you the reason why I say unlocking any complex situation. Nobody has had a perfect day. You always have something to complain about. Somebody will complain about the traffic between Delhi and Gurgaon. Somebody will talk about
The drainage
education.
of Gurgaon.
Somebody will talk about delayed flight or whatever.
True.
Somebody will say about the medicine. Somebody will say about, doctor not giving an appointment, and so on and so forth. Now, my point is, it's a complex situation. Is there anything I can do to help solve it?
True.
So that's what keeps me going. And number two, that's why I said, if you correlate it to making Vinayak a little more competent, or a little more motivated, or a little more confident, is because I know at some stage in your life, you are not the guy who goes, runs and scores the goals. You're the coach outside who's running up and down to make a Vinayak of this world successful.
The catalyst, the Sutradhar.
So I think, all I again want to re-emphasize is, God has given us an opportunity. Let's play that to hilt. If that translates into $30 trillion of a national GDP, yeah, sure enough. We can always convert anything from a bigger purpose to a bigger goal into a mathematical model, because it's easy to measure. And I am one of those who converts ultimately input into an output, and output is equal to a measurable goal.
Engineer ne baat kar li. What has fatherhood taught you?
Sorry?
What has fatherhood taught you? Being a father of two beautiful children.
I think more than that, I would say that I've seen what a mother does.
Yeah.
I've seen it when Anita, my wife, Anu, those are the days when there were no diapers.
वो cloth diapers होते थे.
जो वो cloth वाले जो, she would never let her children sleep in a wet area. If it meant she had to sleep in a wet area, so be it.
मैं कह रहा हूँ ना, the ultimate, कहते हैं ना, they say God is a belief, reality में माँ है.
तो मेरे लिए it was not CP as a father, it was more
Anu as
observing Anu as a mother. I think that was an ultimate salute that I've given to her as a project manager. I've given an ultimate salute to her of how she was bringing up the children.
Beautiful.
So I think all I can say is that Ma Tumhe Salam. And then I saw the Ma Tumhe Salam when my daughter-in-law Shreya became a mother. Uh, though I do believe that both Sania, my daughter, and my son-in-law Mohit and Ashu, they are more co-partners than I was. I think I was still one of those conventional parents in my time that my job was running around the world and my
She was
wife
the CEO
or
of the
mother's
house
job.
and you were the CEO outside. Right?
So, but I see the co-parenting by the children, and I see this in many young parents, and I admire them because I think a child needs that level of support, and a child is lucky that they.
But one generation has to sacrifice, right?
But देखो, जब भी मेरे को किसी ने भी कभी ये कहा ना कि favorite story was, I went in to at the time of the admission of my son, and I went in when he was leaving the school. तो बोले यार वो 12 साल बीच में कहाँ गए? तो I said देखो मैं गया and he has done well. तो कहीं ना कहीं तो माँ तुझको सलाम, अन्नू को सलाम, and number 2 is there is no one method of parenting.
Correct. You are also growing as a parent when the child is growing with you.
Or, there's no perfect answer.
Of course, of course. मुझे एक चीज बताओ, choose not to answer. Without Annu, where would you have been?
देखो, impossible question का कोई आंसर नहीं होता. क्योंकि I cannot imagine, not
How much
being
of that influence, how much of you that you are is also because of this iron lady, this Ma Tujhe Salam behind you?
देखो, as I said कि अगर, and I promise you that I've observed enough families, if Annu was not the anchor of my life, I don't think I would have been able to do what I am able to do.
Beautiful.
I mean, that I sit here on a Saturday is that she has chosen to be the anchor.
True.
She has not put her own interest ahead of me or herself or the family. She has chosen to let the buck stop at her.
Beautiful.
That level of extreme ownership that Annu brings into our life, I think that's what keeps us free and allowing us to grow.
एक फार्मर को पूछा गया था, give the definition of a man. वो बेचारा पढ़ा लिखा नहीं था, उसने बोला from women. Definition of a man is from a woman. Mother, sister, wife, then you see your daughter, she becomes a woman. And that's because they keep us together.
बहुत प्यारा आंसर है. बहुत प्यारा आंसर है.
Millions are watching you, CP. And I genuinely say millions are watching you. What would you like to tell them?
Sorry?
What would you like to tell them?
To?
Millions are watching you. What would you like to tell them as a parting note to the youth, to young mothers, fathers, wives? Everybody is watching you. What would you like to tell them?
बहुत कुछ है कहने को, लेकिन अगर एक वो नाइकी का एक एडवर्टाइजमेंट आता था, वो एक टैगलाइन थी, जस्ट डू इट.
Just do it. Keep running.
In my life, there has been a bias for action, and which effectively means just do it. Your conscience will tell you whether you're doing the right thing or not. And obviously, you will follow the right thing. But so many people will not get up in that morning, and you eventually admire Virat Kohli, but you also admire that he woke up at 4 a.m. to practice. So I think Gita also tells you just do it.
Correct.
And I know I've shared Bhagavad Gita. Obviously, you know that it means there is a huge influence of Bhagavad Gita on my life.
Yeah.
I think just do it.
what is your advice to me?
You, Kunal, by accident or by design, fell into an industry which will define the future of this country.
True.
My only request to you is think 10x. Not that you would not be thinking, but, and you know, I'm a chairman of IIM Nagpur. I was so impressed by my visit to Indian Institute of Hospitality that I requested our director and dean
Yeah.
to come and visit you.
You told me. Yeah.
So it only means is, I think what you owe it to the world is not 1x and 1x, Mane sir,
True.
but at 10x, 5x, whatever. I mean, I don't know enough about the challenges, but definitely don't think 2x. Let's do 10x.
I have tremendous respect for you. जब हम मिले थे कुछ अरसे पहले, I had told you that people come in people's life for a reason. You are not a season in my life. You are a reason in my life. I just want you to know that I love you very much. Thank you so much for doing this. This is going to be one of those conversations which 10 years and 15 years down the line also will be relevant at that point in time, CP.
Chalo. Let's hope we do a repeat show 15 years later,
absolutely.
sitting here together and Kunal. And by that time, you would have achieved your 5x and 10x.
You're absolutely right. And measurable to that output. So nice
Chalo,
to see
you, brother. See you. Okay,
just one last word to the audience. As CP rightly said, just do it. Keep running. Progress. There is no such thing as failure. There is only progress. अगर कभी कुछ आपको लगे कि यू आर फीलिंग sunk or you can't do it, सुबह उठो, बाहर जाओ, don't let yourself fall. Just go. Keep running, keep walking. Thank you so much for your time. Salam, Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, and Adab.